What is going on, everybody? And welcome to the Young Brother Soul Podcast Show. And guess what? It is me, your guy, the young brother of soul. First and foremost, I still want to say to everybody, thank you so much for all the support that y'all have been giving me throughout my podcast channel. I appreciate it so much. And not only that, like I said, I still didn't forget about the ones that definitely want to get interviewed. You know, family and friends. You know what I'm saying? So, on today's episode, what I'm going to be talking about is why does everybody keep hating on Jalen Hurts? Why does everybody keep hating on Jalen Hurts? You know, I don't care what nobody say. I'm not just saying that because I'm the Eagles fan. I'm saying this because Jalen is a good quarterback. Okay? Yeah, he's a good quarterback. And not only that, he is a winner. No matter how the game ends, he's a winner. I mean, he has a 57-25 record, meaning that he won 57 games and lost 25 games. And people still don't give him the credit for that. Still don't give him the credit for that. I mean, come on. He, like I said, he's great. To me, he's great. So far, so good with his career. I mean, he started with the University of Alabama. Yeah, he was benched in the national championship game, but he's still a national championship winner, no matter what. I mean, yeah, he had a poor game that game, but guess what? Everybody's not perfect. Okay? Every good quarterback in the league is not perfect. I'm going to tell you that right now. Yeah. You know, he went to Alabama from the year 2016 to 2018. That is until the year 2019, where he transferred to the University of Oklahoma. Now, Oklahoma, he really showed how much of a good quarterback that he is. And not only that he showed how much of a good quarterback that he is, he was a runner-up for the Heisman Trophy. Runner-up. And people still criticize him. And not only that, he is a 2020 second round draft pick, 53rd overall by, of course, my hometown team, the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, a lot of Eagles fans, well, I shouldn't just say Eagles fans, because I'm an Eagles fan. A lot of other Eagles fans didn't really like the draft pick because they felt that he wasn't good enough. You know, they felt that, that I guess other fans felt that we should have drafted another quarterback because at that time, of course, we had Carson Wentz. And, well, we already know what that story was with Carson Wentz. And all I can say is this with Jalen. Jalen, to me, is a quarterback that, how can I say? Yes, he has some great games. And, yes, there are some games where he just, sometimes you got to figure it out. Sometimes you got to read the defense better. Yeah, but all quarterbacks go through that. Not just him, but they're so quick to criticize him. I guess maybe it's because the way how he plays. And not only that, how can I say? He's a mobile quarterback. When he runs out the pocket, he's amazing. But when he throws the ball, at first he didn't really have that much for arm, but now, to me, he throws a perfect deep pass. Trust me, I've seen him throw quite a few great deep passes. I mean, out of his career, he has 2,393 passing attempts. He has 1,542 passing completions. He has what is it with y'all that keep on hating? He has a 64.4 completion rating per game. And not only that, he has 110 passing touchdowns to 45 interceptions. He has 110. And not only that, he has 17,891 passing yards. His passer rating is 94.4. He has over 3,554 rushing yards for a quarterback, and he has 63 rushing touchdowns, of course, because he's a mobile quarterback. And not only that, this is my thing. Like I said, this man has been through so many offensive coordinators out of his football career. Been through so many. I believe it started with high school, then it went to college. I mean, like I said, he played for the University of Alabama, where he started. And then he would go on to the University of Oklahoma. Then he came into the league. Do you know how many offensive coordinators that he's been through since he came into the league? I mean, in 2020, he had Doug Peterson, who was the head coach. Then in 2021, he had Nick Sirianni, head coach, and Shane Stockton, as I may say his name right or wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. Leave a comment. Then, of course, in 2022, he had Shane Steichen. 2023, he had Brian Johnson. 2024, he had Kellen Moore. 2025, he had Kevin Patullo. I'm not just going to say that I'm not going to keep, putting everything on him, which I'm not. Because, like I said, I feel like he's a great quarterback. But my thing is this, though. This man has been through so many offensive coordinators. And not only that, when you go through so many offensive coordinators, play calling, you get a lot of different You get a lot of different play calling. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't work. But my thing is this, though. Is there ever a chance with the Eagles that we will get a steady offensive coordinator that's going to stay with us more than a year or two? I don't know. It's like every time we go to a Super Bowl, what happens? The Eagles always lose an offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator because they got head coaching opportunities, which is nothing wrong with that, becoming a head coach in the NFL, but it's always with the Eagles. I mean, oh, man. It started back when we won our first Super Bowl. We had a great offensive coordinator, a great defensive coordinator. Well, the offensive coordinator became a head coach. Frank Wright became the head coach of the Colts. And, of course, Jim Schwartz stayed with us for quite some time. But then when we went to Super Bowl 57, we had a great offensive coordinator, and then we had a defensive coordinator. They became head coaches. And then in 2024, we had Kellen Moore as our offensive coordinator. Then he became a head coach. So the only thing is Vic Fangio stayed as defensive coordinator. Now, what I'm saying is this, though. What is it that people don't like about Jalen? I mean, he's a winner. And not only that he's a winner, he's not perfect. Everybody's not perfect in the NFL as a quarterback. I mean, of course, you had Tom Brady. You had Peyton Manning. You had Drew Brees. You had Aaron Rodgers, Ben Roethlisberger, Joe Montana, Steve Young, Warren Moon, Randall Cunningham, Terry Bradshaw, Ken Stabler, Troy Aikman, Kurt Warner, John Elway. I mean, Steve McNair. You just had even Roger Staubach, Bart Starr. All those quarterbacks that I named are definitely in the Hall of Fame. And not only that, that they're in a Hall of Fame, they didn't always have perfect games. No, they didn't. They always had trust and believe. Yes, they had some wonderful games, especially not just in the Super Bowl, in the regular season too. But sometimes these quarterbacks, they didn't always play that well. So what is it that people are so quick to criticize Jalen Hurts so quickly? I mean, like I said, he was a second round draft pick in the 2020 NFL draft. Well, we already know what happened with the year 2020. And not only that, he was under Carson Wentz his rookie season. Okay? What happened in the year 2020? Carson struggled. Okay? Not only that he struggled, well, we didn't make the playoffs that year. Carson struggled so bad. Well, before we get to the struggling part, Jalen would come in and run some quarterback plays. Some of it worked, some of it didn't work. Some of it worked real well. I remember one game, Carson was struggling, and Jalen did a couple plays, and he did a rushing yard play, and the play was the best play out of the game that year. Well, that game, I believe it was against the Baltimore Ravens. Of course, we lost that game, but like I said, Carson just kept struggling, turning the ball over, interception, fumble. So it was to the point that a change had to be done. And not only that a change had to be done, it all started with the game against the Green Bay Packers. Carson Wentz was struggling, of course. Well, what happened? He got benched for Jalen Hurts. And what happened? Jalen Hurts threw a touchdown pass. It looked like we were going to come back in that game. But, of course, we lost that game to the Packers. I mean, Jalen he played pretty well as a rookie. He had a 1-3 record. 6 touchdowns, passing touchdowns to 4 interceptions. He threw for 1,061 passing yards, playing in 4 games. Of course, he had 6 rushing touchdowns, and he had 354 rushing yards through 4 games. I mean, to me, that is awesome for a quarterback. And not only that, he was a rookie. And what really showed me that he was going to be a good quarterback, is the game against the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, of course, we lost that game, but to me, he showed that he was going to be a good quarterback, like I said, because he was going toe-to-toe with Kyler Murray. I mean, yeah, we were down by 16-0, and then next thing you know, we just kept coming back. He was throwing touchdown after touchdown, rushing. I mean, he really showed me that he was going to be a good quarterback in that game. And then, of course, he played against the Saints. Played very well. And look what happened. In the year 2021, Carson Wentz would get traded to the Indianapolis Colts, and Jalen would become the full-time starter. Yeah. Full-time starter in 2021. And not only that, we would we will wind up getting a new head coach by the name of Nick Sirianni. Yeah, we did. Now, in the 2021 season, Jalen actually had an 8-7 record. He threw 16 touchdown passes to 9 interceptions. He threw for 3,144 passing yards. He had 10 rushing touchdowns and 784 rushing yards. Now, that year in 2021, of course, it was Nick Sirianni's first year as head coach. And like I said, it was Jalen Hurts becoming a full-time starter in the league. And not only that, yeah, he had some good games, and yeah, he had some bad games. But at the end, he still took us to the playoffs. His first time being a starter, he took us to the playoffs. I mean, yeah, we lost the wild card to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but he really showed how much good of a quarterback that he is. I mean, I'm gonna go into a little detail about Eagles quarterback history a little later in this episode. Yeah. And not only that, this is my 30th episode of the Young Brother of Soul podcast show. Yeah. Trust and believe there definitely will be some more episodes coming of the Young Brother of Soul podcast show. But back to the video. Yeah, like I said, he became a full-time starter. His first year, he took us to the playoffs. And even Tom Brady, of all quarterbacks, praises Jalen Hurts. Yes, he does. Even that playoff game that we lost against, he said some good things about Jalen. He said, Jalen's going to be a good quarterback. Ooh, excuse me. Jalen's going to be a good quarterback, which he is. He's a good quarterback. He's great to me. He's great. Well, here comes the 2022 season. In 2022, Jalen would have a 14-1 record that season. He had 22 passing touchdowns to 6 interceptions. He had 3,701 passing yards, 13 rushing touchdowns, and 760 rushing yards. Now, that year, ladies and gentlemen, was the year that Jalen, to me, showed that he is definitely a phenomenal, great quarterback, because what really showed me was the game week 2 against Minnesota. I mean, he was all over the place. He ran for 2 touchdowns and threw a deep pass, and everybody keep forgetting Jalen is a strong quarterback. He's a strong dude. I mean, he bench presses over 708 pounds of weight. And that showed that, to me, like I said, he's a good quarterback. And then, of course, that year he was out for 2 games because he injured his shoulder. Well, look what happened. He was balling in the playoffs against the New York Giants. He balled in the NFC Championship against the San Francisco 49ers. And then, of course, he took us to Super Bowl 57. I'm going to get back to that a little later. Now, Jalen. Yeah, like I said, it's the 2023 season. Now, everybody knows what happened with that 2023 season. I mean, Jalen actually had an 11-6 record that year. He had 23 passing touchdowns to 15 interceptions. He had 3,858 passing yards to 15 rushing touchdowns and 605 rushing yards. Now, everybody knows, like I said, what happened with the 2023 Philadelphia Eagles season that year. What happened? We had a 10-1 record. We started 10-1. The way how we started, everybody was looking at us like we were going back to the Super Bowl. I'm going to be honest with y'all. I actually thought we were going to go back to the Super Bowl that year too, because we started 10-1. What happened? I never forget, we played the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl 57 rematch. We won that game. Then, of course, we had that great game against the Buffalo Bills. I mean, we went, It went to overtime. And, of course, Jalen scored the game-winning touchdown in overtime. And what happened after that? I mean, we got blown out by the 49ers. We got blown out by the Dallas Cowgirls, or 40-winers, as I should say. We lost to the Seattle Seahawks. Oh, man. I never forget that game. I mean, I just wouldn't put that all on Jalen. Like, the play calling, and then I never forget, we played against the Arizona Cardinals at home. We had a lead and we let them come back and win the game. That was horrible. That was horrible. And then, of course, we lost to the New York Giants the last week. But on Christmas Day, we beat them, but we lost to them on the last week. I mean, 2023 season. To be honest with you, I couldn't wait till that season ended because we had Brian Johnson as our offensive coordinator. Then we had Sean Deseni, I forget his last name. Correct me if I'm wrong. Leave a comment. As our defensive coordinator. I mean, it was to the point that our defense was horrible that year. The defensive coordinator got demoted, and Matt Patricia became the interim defensive coordinator, and we still lost. Still kept losing. I mean, of course, in that year in 2023 is the most interceptions that Jalen ever threw in his career. 15. Was it his fault? No. Was all of it his fault? No. Some passes some of it was his fault, and then some others wasn't his fault. I mean, that 2023 season. Like I said, I couldn't wait till it ended. It was horrible. It was horrible. Woo. Mm, 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 mm. 2024. What happened in 2024? We know what happened in 2024. Jalen had a 12-3 record. He was out for like 4 games because of a concussion. He had 18 passing touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 2,903 passing yards to 14 rushing touchdowns, and he had 630 rushing yards. Yeah, we already knew what happened in the 2024 season. We beat the Packers in the wild card. We beat the Rams in the divisional. We beat the Washington Commanders in the NFC Championship. And then, of course, we went back to the Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs. Like I said, I'm going to get back to that a little later. Back to 2023. We lost the wild card game to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers again. I don't know what it is. It's like ever since the Tampa Bay Buccaneers beat us in the 0-2 NFC Championship, it's like we can't beat them anymore. So, yeah. Anyway, we already know what happened in 2024. We started 2-2. The next thing you know, we went on a winning streak. And like I said, I'm going to get back to that a little later. Then, of course, 2025 season. Oh, boy. Jalen had a 11-5 record, 25 passing touchdowns to 6 interceptions. He had 3,224 passing yards, 8 rushing touchdowns to 421 rushing yards. Now, 25 passing touchdowns is the most touchdowns that Jalen ever threw out of his career. That is the most. What happened in 2025? Kevin Pizzullo was our offensive coordinator, who was horrible. Horrible. I mean, the play calling was just, oh my goodness. The only thing that saved us was the defense. We still made it to the playoffs. We won back-to-back divisions, but we would wind up losing the wild cards to the San Francisco 49ers. So, yeah, well, I'm going to just leave it at that. Back to the Super Bowls. Jalen is the only quarterback in Eagles history. Well, put it this way. Super Bowl 57, he had 27 out of 38 completions, 304 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown, and 3 rushing touchdowns. Of course, he fumbled. But the thing is, I just don't blame Jalen with Super Bowl 57 because where was the defense? And that year, the Eagles led the year with 70 sacks. 70 sacks, which is the most in the NFL. And we did not get a sack or a turnover in Super Bowl 57. So like I said, I just don't blame that on Jalen. I blame that on the defensive calling too. Like, there should have been adjustments. And not only that, we had a 10-point lead going into halftime. And, of course, there was a controversial holding call. Well, that might be another video I might do, too. Controversial calls in the NFL. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. There are so many. So many. Anyway. Yeah, like I said, I just don't blame Jalen in that game. I blame the defense. Excuse me for a second. I just need a little something to drink. Yeah, I mean, there should have been no reason why we let Mahomes run all over the field in that game. And of course we lost that game. 38-35. I'm still a little hurt about that game. Yeah, I still am. That is until Super Bowl 59. And what happened in Super Bowl 59? Jalen had 17 out of 22 passing completions, 221 passing yards, 2 touchdown passes, and 1 touchdown rushing. Well, of course, 1 interception. And not only that, he has set so many NFL records in the Super Bowl. I mean, he is the only quarterback to have 3 rushing touchdowns in the Super Bowl, and he is the only quarterback to have the most rushing yards by a quarterback in the Super Bowl, which was 72 yards. We got our revenge against the Kansas City Chiefs from Super Bowl 57. And not only that, we got our revenge. And not only that we got our revenge, he is the only quarterback in the league as of right now to make it to a Super Bowl, lose it, and then go back to the Super Bowl and win it. Can you name me any other quarterback that made it to one Super Bowl and went back? Well, put it this way. Made it to one Super Bowl, lost it, and then make it back to the Super Bowl and win it. There are a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL that made an appearance in the Super Bowl, of course. They lost it, and they didn't get back. So far, the quarterbacks that I can think of, Jared Goff with the LA Rams, the Super Bowl 53, which they lost to the Patriots. Joe Burrow, which they lost Super Bowl 56 to the Rams. I mean, like, come on. Like I said, there are other, well, those are the 2 active quarterbacks that have made it to the Super Bowl and lost it and didn't get back. I can name other quarterbacks that at least made it to the Super Bowl and didn't get back. I mean, put it this way. You have Oh man, Matt Hasselbeck, Donovan McNabb. Those are the only quarterbacks that I can think of that made it to the Super Bowl, lost it, and didn't go back. I mean, like I said, Jalen, as of right now, is the only quarterback that made it to 2 Super Bowls, lost one, and went back and win the other. And not only that, he is the only quarterback in Eagles history to make it to multiple Super Bowls. Okay? He is the only quarterback in Eagles history to make it to multiple Super Bowls. Okay? Ron Jaworski lost Super Bowl 15. Donovan McNabb lost Super Bowl 39. Nick Foles won Super Bowl 52. Now, Nick Foles will always and forever be a legend in Philadelphia. And not only that he will be a legend in the city of Philadelphia, he is the first quarterback to win a Super Bowl for the city of Philadelphia. And not only that he's the first quarterback to win a Super Bowl in the city of Philadelphia, he won a Super Bowl against Tom Brady. Of course, Tom Brady had more passing yards than Nick in that game, but Nick Foles was a backup that year. Of course, Carson Wentz was balling his second year in the NFL till he got hurt, torn his ACL. And what happened? Nick took over. Nick won Super Bowl 57. Now, we do give credit to Carson for having a wonderful sophomore year in the NFL, but he got hurt. And then Nick had to take over, and what happened? Nick won us our first Super Bowl. So I give credit to Nick Foles. Nick Foles, like I said, is a legend in the city of Philadelphia. And not only that he's a legend in the city of Philadelphia, he is the first quarterback in Eagles history to win a Super Bowl. And not only that he's the first, he won MVP. He won MVP. He threw for 3 touchdowns, caught a touchdown, the Philly special, and of course he threw an interception. Yeah, he did. So, shout out to Nick Foles. Shout out to Nick Foles. But back to Jalen. Jalen Hurts is the only quarterback to win, well, not win, to make it to 2 Super Bowls, well, multiple Super Bowls in Eagles history. And not only that, he outplayed Patrick Mahomes in both Super Bowls. Yes, he did. He outplayed both. Outplayed him in both. Yeah, he lost Super Bowl 57. Like I said, I just don't put that on him because where was the defense? But we won Super Bowl 59 and he won MVP. And not only that, the 2024 Eagles was definitely way better than 2022. And to me, 2024 was way better than 2017 to me. But of course, 2017 and 2024 Eagles were way better than the 2004 Eagles. Yeah, I said it. Yeah. Like, what is it that people don't give Jalen his credit? He is a great quarterback. Like I said, only Eagles quarterback to play in multiple Super Bowls. Outplayed Mahomes twice. Alabama, Oklahoma, second round draft pick, over 100 touchdown passing. But it's not his fault that he goes through so many offensive coordinators. But I'm going to tell you this right now. He also scored the most points in the Super Bowl, 20, tied with James White. Well, we already know who James White was, Super Bowl 51. Like I said, Jalen is a phenomenal quarterback. No, he's not perfect. Nobody's perfect in the NFL, but they still don't give him his credit that he deserves. I don't know why, because there is a bunch of haters out here. But like I said, I appreciate him so much. Yeah, sometimes he makes me mad, but guess what? He's still a winner. Still a winner. And not only that, I believe that Jalen will win quite a few more Super Bowls. Don't know when, but yeah, he's definitely going to win more Super Bowls for the city of Philadelphia. For the Philadelphia Eagles, as I should say. I appreciate everything that he does. And not only that, like I said, people need to stop blaming him. Yeah, there's some plays that I wish he can do better with, but guess what? Every quarterback goes through that. No quarterback in the NFL is perfect. Nobody. Joe Montana went through it. Tom Brady went through it. Peyton Manning went through it. You know? Stop criticizing this man. This man is a winner. He's a good quarterback. And not only that he's a good quarterback, he is also Super Bowl MVP. Even though the defense played so well in that game, which they did, because they sacked Mahomes 6 times and they turned the ball over 3 times. So, yeah. But Jalen is a phenomenal, amazing, great quarterback. Like I said, do I see him winning more Super Bowls with the Eagles? Yeah, I do. I can see it happening. I definitely can see it happening. So people out here, y'all need to leave Jalen alone. Give him his credit. Respect the man. And not only that, he's a winner. He wins. 57 wins to 25 losses. What more can you take from him? And ever since he became the full-time starter, what happened? Each year, playoffs, Super Bowl. Well, put it this way. Wild card, Super Bowl, wild card, Super Bowl, wild card. 5 years in a row, he made it to the playoffs. And y'all still don't give this man his credit. Well, to some of my fellow Eagles fans, y'all need to stop. I mean, well, it's your opinion, but this is my opinion too. I feel as though that Jalen is a phenomenal quarterback. Y'all need to stop criticizing him. But it seems like the more he gets criticized, the better he gets. And the better he gets, the more he shuts people down. I love it when Jalen shuts people down. I love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the end and the 30th episode of the Young Brother of Soul podcast. Trust and believe there definitely will be some more episodes coming from the Young Brother of Soul himself on the Young Brother Soul podcast show. Everybody do me a favor. Make sure y'all subscribe, hit that thumbs up, leave a comment, and hit that notification button. And yes, you already know I can't wait till football season starts again. Everybody knows I love football. We're just going to see with the Sixers. That's another video I'm going to do about the Sixers, especially around playoff time. We'll see what's going to happen after that. Then, of course, baseball season is getting ready to start with the Phillies. Phillies, please do something. Please do something. And, of course, the Flyers, well, they're young, so we're just going to leave it at that. But like I said, everybody, thank you for tuning in on this episode of the Young Brother Soul podcast show. And make sure y'all tune in for some more episodes. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that thumbs up, leave a comment, hit that notification button. And trust and believe, I will be interviewing more people on the Young Brother of Soul podcast show because I did not forget about y'all. All right. Thank you and have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful night. And another thing is too, make sure y'all stay warm too. You know, this weather is funny. It's about to be March. We already know how the weather is in March, so yeah. All right, let me stop. Thank y'all.